Alright, so let's get going. So we're going to be doing a little drawing tutorial on 21 Savage today. When I start doing my portraits, you can see I do some light shading. So I usually start with something kind of in the mid-range, like a B, and I'll do it lightly to just kind of get like a base down on the face. I know some people work dark to light or light to dark. I guess I work more light to dark, but I do a lot of back and forth. As you can see, I bounce around quite a bit, but yeah, so I'll start out kind of getting some of the mid-tones. So these areas I know are some of the blackest areas, so I will go over those, but kind of the mid-tone. I just kind of start blocking in some areas. That way it's a lot easier to identify what you're working with. So I'm going to take a break now and check out this interview.
Y'all be quick to jump down our throat. This is art. So how the fuck can you tell me how to express myself?
So right now I'm working on the hair. Now, when you do hair, you don't have to keep it perfect. So I used to be intimidated with doing hair, but now I actually have a lot of fun doing it. So keep in mind when you do hair, you can see the shadows and these light patches that are in between from the highlights. Now they vary so much, they're just different shapes, just random shapes, so you're never gonna get that perfect. As long as you get the idea of basic sections and variants of lines and tones. When I look at this, I see there's a big, almost triangle right here. That line comes through, so I gotta keep that open. And the ends are super fun. These little wispy hairs. As you lift your hand off the page, it'll end super light and you'll have those super fine hairs. I'm just using a 2B to start. So I'll block in a shape. And if you change your lines, going different directions, that works really well. Especially with these kind of dreaded bits of hair. And then when I'm confident, I will go over sections to darken them, blend it out. So if I'm gonna do this top one, it's kind of an interesting squiggle. So the last 2 days I've been working on this drawing of 21 Savage. I got a lot done yesterday. Today it's raining outside, so I'm going to be working on it pretty much all day today again. But usually before I start working on things, I've mentioned before I only listen to that artist when I draw or paint them, so I make a playlist, but right now I'm spending my morning, I'll show you, but I'm just spending my morning watching interviews and stuff because I kind of like to study that artist while I work on it. I get kind of obsessive like that, so I'm going back and watching all these old interviews of 21 Savage. And yeah, just learning as much as I can about him. It's kind of like doing a little project almost in school where you would just go back and do as much research on whatever subject you're doing. But for me, I do it on the artists that I'm drawing or painting. So I'll watch a bunch of these and music videos and stuff. I like to see their visuals, kind of the aesthetics they like to go with. And maybe besides just doing the portrait, I might come across something that would spark an idea to do something in the background or add something to the existing photo based off of things they've mentioned in interviews or visuals in music videos or whatever. Yeah, maybe little Easter eggs they'll put in there. Sometimes I do that. And then I'll show you the progress I made last night and continue to do that today.
Yeah, Johnny, that's Pop. He got killed.
And you don't got no trauma from that, man? Like,
Yeah.
So this is everything I'm using right now. All the blue pencils are just a generic brand and set. I got a couple blending stumps and tortillions. Kneaded eraser pencil. These are dope. The little sandpaper thing I use for example, this is a great dark pencil. The Primo Elite Grande Organic Black 5000. You can't really sharpen these just with a normal pencil sharpener because this is so brittle. So what I do, I will sharpen it like this and I'll try to expose quite a bit of the charcoal there. And I will use the sandpaper to sand it down to a fine point. Now this is really good for doing small details like maybe the very black in the nostril or parts of the pupil, some eyelashes, things like that to really create that depth. Okay, so now after I've gone through and I've done a bit of the base, I'll go back over top with that really black Elite Grande pencil and I will darken the blacks and I will use my tortillion to blend it out. So this is where I'm at right now. Gonna take a break. I'm gonna watch this interview right now and eat my breakfast. Chia pudding. So this one I did espresso, some chocolate chips and coconut.
21 said he was just on the PJ.
Yeah.
Thought the PJ was about to crash.
Hell yeah, we were finna beat the pilot up
That would help.
on the way down. Right before we got to the ground.
This one turned out pretty good. I thought maybe I didn't use enough espresso, but it's good.
Why you pulling out these rappers' cards?
Whatever, they couldn't get me, they take me to the big jail. I go in the big, they took me to jail for adults.
So this bigger pencil that I'm using right now, this is a 9XXB, and I'll use that to get some of the base curls down. And for erasing mistakes, I have that mechanical eraser pencil, as well as the kneaded eraser. They work really good hand in hand. You get the little eraser bits on your page and then just use the kneaded eraser to pick those bits up. Next morning, try to bang this out today. So I'll be working a lot on the hair today. It takes quite a bit of time to go back and forth and do the different tones and blend it out. Erase little mistakes and use erasers to add some of the highlights. And then you always want to make sure you have a nice sharp pencil every time. You see I'm fanning my page here, so any pencil shavings or eraser bits or anything on your page, just use that to get it off rather than blowing, because you may accidentally just end up spitting on your paper, so don't do that. Or if you use your fingers, you'll transfer oils from your hand onto the page. So now I'm going to start on his jacket, and again, like the hair and everything else, I started to get just like a base down. I did a lot more cross hatching style shading on the jacket just because it has more texture, so it doesn't have to be as perfect. I like to watch other people's art vlogs. I always just found this super interesting to see other people's process and how they go about doing things. But I will get back to this today. Almost done. Yeah, so just hanging out right now while the fur baby sleeps away. Keeps me company. Oh, she heard me. Say hi. So now I'm going in with just an acrylic brush. Make sure they're nice and clean and obviously dry before you use them. You can see here how you can get a really good blending effect with them. So I did some shading, and then with the brush I just kind of used what was on the paper to do some more light shading and blend things out. I don't want this, I'm not trying to make this drawing like insanely perfect. I wanted it to be kind of loose and easy, but I ended up spending more time on it than I wanted. But what's left, I'm just gonna take, what do I have here? 4 each? Yeah. I'm gonna take some lighter pencils and just do some cross hatching in these areas and add a bit more detail and darken it a bit. And here's the mess I've made so far and the reference I'm using. So after I blended it out, I've gone back over with that really dark pencil, and now I'll go back in with the brush and blend it out again. And once I've done that, I will go back in again, but with some lighter pencils this time, just to kind of smooth out those transition areas. At this point, I'm going to call it quits.